Hey, how's everybody doing? There we go. I remembered what the hotkeys were. I'm trying out streaming and recording at the same time for the first time because thanks to Arun, who is a warship streamer, he basically helped me set up a thing that lets me use the onboard, the motherboard onboard graphics chip as basically like a dedicated encoding chip with OBS. And I discovered I was also using the old version of OBS, which if you wanted to record and stream at the same time you could, but you couldn't do them at separate resolutions, and OBS Studio actually lets you do that. So I might now be able to have stuff uploaded to YouTube. I might be able to do the VODs as local recordings at full 1080. So we'll see how that works out. Fingers crossed. So, we opened up there with a little bit of Apollo 13 music, although that was a bit more downbeat than I remembered, but, you know, bad things happened in Apollo 13, and then they managed to get home in the end, so that was the whole point I don't know, I just wanted something spacey, you know, so there we go. So I have been tinkering a lot with the Latika Mafia and the associated lander, and the question is, can we get them into orbit, and then can we get them on their way, and can we do it without killing everybody? And I think that's what I'm going to try and do in this stream, is we're going to try and get our first interplanetary expedition going in Galileo's planet pack. No, it's got options. It's quite nice, Brett. It's got options for actually selecting a separate recording resolution than the streaming resolution. It used to be with the OBS settings that you had one resolution for like one resolution setting for your recording and streaming, but it's actually separated out now, so it's quite nice. So yeah, I had not realized there was a newer version of OBS, and there was. So the reason why I tweeted about it being the Finnish space program is, of course, Latika Mafia himself is Finnish, and we're going to put a Finnish flag on this machine. So this had all kinds of teething problems, but it is now in a flight-worthy state. It's got a pair, in fact it's got a trio of nuclear engines, and it's got some ridiculous amount of, it's going to have about 4 years worth of life support when we actually get it up there. Now, this is the current launch configuration, which I know will launch. I was also building a separate lander launcher, but now I've had the thought of maybe I could just launch it with the lander in place on the nose. I don't know. It's up to you, AGF. I mean, you know, the benefit of being here and watching it live, even though it is only at pigeon-powered internet speeds, is that, you know, you can actually talk to me, and I can talk back to you, and there's that whole interaction thing going on. But you know, not everybody can tune into the VODs or tune into the streams rather, and so it's nice to have the option of having a better quality upload for YouTube. So I'll be able to see what goes on slightly better on YouTube anyway. So yeah, this is the separate lander I cooked up for this thing, but I'm wondering if I can maybe get this into space on the nose of the other one. So what we'll do is we'll actually we can drop it straight on the existing one, can't we? And I'll say overwrite. So that's now a sub-assembly. So don't save, go on to that. So who's all tuned in, by the way? Who have we got? Tumas, Ralach, Brett, I've already said hello to, Bunny Hop, AGF of course, and Gudgiga, the one and only. Well, I would hope you'd be the only one, Gudgiga, because I'm not sure that's a particularly, you know, like as a family name, it leaves something to be desired. So, what's this going to do to my my Delta V? That cuts it down to about 10,000 and also completely mucks up the staging. So we're going to have to sort the staging out potentially. But what we'll do is we'll actually... Oh. There we go. We'll save that so we've got this as a separate craft file to tinker with a little bit first. But yeah, I had all kinds of issues getting this up initially, and then I'm hoping this might be enough still, but we might need to then stick on some SRBs to get it off the ground. So my question is, what has it done with our staging? So those engines are up there, and that separator is there, and then there's a bunch of parachutes on this thing as well that also need to be in 2 separate stages, because they are the parachutes for getting us down on the ground. So or down onto Gratian rather. So those are the drogue chutes, and then we need another stage for the main chutes. That should be them all there. I mean, this is I basically, like, it's horrendously expensive, and it's just a gigantic all-in-one launcher, because I was having problems with staged launchers, so I just built this monstrosity which is going to consume more than half of my current funds. So you're a community manager at Discord. Oh, okay. That's that must be an interesting job, actually, because Discord's been really gaining in popularity. I was reading a little bit about it. I was trying to figure out, because it's one of these things, you know, it's all offered for free, and then you're trying to figure out how they make their money. And then I was reading, and it's like, oh, it's a bit like Twitter in the early days, where it was all kind of venture funding, and you know, the potential monetization stuff comes later on. So it's not like Facebook, and you're secretly harvesting our thoughts to nefariously sell on to advertisers. You know, not yet anyway. Right, so once again we're going to... Oh, it gets a bit finicky about building fairings sometimes. We might need to have like a short step out and then build it up. Now this has got quite a lot of part count, so we can expect not particularly great frame rates. But the nice thing about with what Arun showed me is that because it's using a separate chip on the motherboard for recording, it doesn't actually impact on your CPU usage at all, as Bandicam would. So this is now even taller than it was before, and hopefully it's not going to be like ultra wobbly even as a result. I think I've better double check the action groups as well, because the lander's got its own action groups. So I'll remove that one. Ladder. Actually, we can uncheck all those as well. I was checking something with delta V, and the only way to do it was to basically have all the fuel tanks locked, because otherwise it was going to give me incorrect stats. Right, so okay, let's see, what are the other action groups have we got? Is this just the ladder and the solar panel and the antenna, which I think should be everything? Yeah, okay, that's correct. Right, okay. Lots of furious scrolling. This is a very tall craft. So we'll want to, like, custom group 10 is that, so we'll want to have toggle fuel cell, because I've basically got this thing as a, like, I mean, this is going to be a horrendously expensive launch, but we can, using the appropriate mod, actually recover this. Scroll down on the circle. Oh, okay. You'll find a red name. Well, I think I'm. Yeah, Discord's going on in the background at the moment, but yeah. Right. Let's also glance at the chat. Far Berserker. Hello, Far Berserker. Is that how you greet people? Is just, you know, give them a good old kick on the shin. Right, so having stuck that launcher on the top has reduced our TWR and our SLT a bit, and it has reduced our launch, you know, our delta V a bit. So, okay, and the actual delta V, I mean, we've still, having put that on top, that's about 1,000 delta V right there in terms of lugging that lander around with us, but that's fine. We've still got 6.7k delta V with the nuclear engines. Oh, you were, oh, I see. Okay, Far Berserker. Well, you can always go back and watch, but I honestly had more fun in the PvE stuff, even though it was a bit basic. I tried some RB for both air and ground, and I probably had a little more fun and a little more success in air, but overall, yeah, it's not like I was particularly great at those games to begin with, and I kind of got my ass handed to me a little bit, but especially with tanks, it's kind of a, I don't know, like, I know it's more authentic, but just getting randomly one-shotted by a tank destroyer you hadn't spotted that's several hundred meters away, undoubtedly more true to real life, but I'm not sure it's the most fun game experience. So we're going to want a big SRB, I think. What's the biggest we've got available? These things. Right, so that... Oh, I've clicked the wrong thing there. Let's just Control Z that. Right, this is going to be a super expensive launch. Yeah, I would imagine, like, I watch people... I mean, I say people like Fly and is it Bowtime Gaming or Bohica? Anyway, I can't remember what his YouTube channel is, and others playing it, and it's like, how do you see these things? How do you see these tiny little dots on the screen? I don't understand. Also, that's clipping through a fin, so that's no good. We had many jokes about fins last time. And, you know, fins and fins, because that's, you know, a similar sounding word, if not the same sounding word. Oh, okay, that's having a little, I think it's having to have a little think just because. Right, so we actually want 4 there, I think. This is slightly confusing. Come on, actually on the, there we go, on the separator. Right, we might need some struts. Just to stabilize this whole mess. But you know, I'm sure it's perfectly, it's going to be fine and stable. Right, so those need to be in their own separate group. That gets our TWR to be rather more respectable. And these burn for about a minute as well, so these actually give a pretty good chunk of delta V. Hey Redman, I played some warships on EU today. I don't think I can face playing it on NA as well. I did get the Ijayaslav though. I did get the daily, which was enough yesterday. But yeah, I think I've had enough warships for today, the battleship players especially. And I say that just because there's so many battleships, so many people queuing in battleships. It's quite noticeable when you have 2 or 3 battleships that just hump the map border the entire game. So yeah, no. I had one good game where I was an AA spec Cleveland, where it was 2 tier 7 carriers per team. So I had 45 air kills at the end of that one. That was quite nice. But that was still a really close game because some of our players derped pretty hard, even so. But yeah, some of the other games I played, like I tried twice for an Iowa daily, and oh no, that was not fun. Anyway, so also we want some parachutes on these SRBs. I think we'll just put 1, but we'll just scale it up because these are heavy parts. So if I scale that up to say like 150, or should we just go for the full Monty and make it 200%? I think so. So 770,000 and many thousands, and it's lots and many. Let's just go with that. Don't look at me. Numbers, my old enemy. Anyway, so I'm sure if I thought about it I could properly say that number, but you know, I'm flustered now, so let's just try and launch this. Also we need a crew, don't we? So pilot, engineer, so we need 4 scientists basically. I guess we'll stick them all in the lab, because the idea is we'll have 4 scientists and then we'll have probably the pilot and one of the scientists go down to the surface for the actual landing. Oh, I don't know, let's go with you, Valvey Kerman. Oh yeah, but like he got fed. I mean, it was sort of moderately impressive for a Derpski to get a Kraken, but yeah, he got fed 2 very, very bad battleship players, and then there was a Kuma or something like that just completely blundered into his torpedoes as well. So right, okay, now that the physics load thing has caught up, it hasn't immediately exploded on the launch pad, so that's a good sign. Right, we'll also want to make sure I guess, are we only staging? We're only staging once, so stop at stage 6. And I've got an action group key for the actual the Shroud release. So I guess we'll go for like a. Have we got enough delta V for a 100-kilometer orbit? I'm not actually sure. Let's try it. I also hope my sound levels are all right. You can oh no, 1,000-kilometer orbit. That's a little high. Yeah, you can let me know when the actual, you know, rocket sound starts. Although bear in mind it's multiple rockets, so KSP kind of makes things with multiple engines very loud indeed, which is probably reasonably accurate. So here we go. Fingers crossed. Can Finland into space? Okay, it hasn't. That's not bad. Nothing's wobbling unduly. Isn't like a lot of the earlier issues I had was because the main craft itself was rocking around inside the shroud and basically destroying itself sort of between 30 and 40k altitude. So that wasn't so much like that was the design, I think, more than anything else. It is a very spindly, tall payload on top of this big thing. Hey Sam4311. That's one thing I don't know if I can do throw through OBS is to have... I haven't actually investigated that. I've literally just had this thought. I could have had like an on-screen chat thing, which might have been something odd, but I don't know if doing a local recording would then actually record that. Hell, I don't even know if the local recording is going to work just anyway. In principle, it should. I did a little bit of testing yesterday, but yeah. Oh, you got to meet iChase. You did get to meet him in the end, so that's nice. Okay, also, apparently it is very loud, so let's turn that down even. There we go. Hey, Sir Conqueror. Yeah, if it was just a single engine launch, that sound level would probably be fine. But because it's multiple engines, it's very, very noisy. I mean, this is like 7 engines plus the SRBs, or is it 9 engines? Oh, I can't even remember. This is all wheel plume, by the way. The extra, the different looking effects from stock. This, I should say, this is still 1.2.2. I didn't like this is all a separate copy of the client. I did let Steam update the main copy, as it were, to 1.3, but that seems to have broken quite a lot of mods, I'm guessing because of all the text localization changes they made. So the mods themselves might still be fine, it's just, you know, text strings mucking things up, so hopefully the few mods I do use on my stock career, principally MechJeb, catch up reasonably soon. Oh well, you identified him by the fact that he was signing an autograph. I'm not even sure I can tell you what iChase looks like. I don't think I'd recognise him either, to be honest. But a lot of the other people, well, I've met 1 or 2 of them in real life. I met a bunch of them last year of the EU side in Warsaw. But the NA people, I've seen like 1 or 2 I maybe would recognise because they do like face cams. But as for the rest, it would be rather difficult. Anyway, so there we go. Separation of the SRBs. Nothing's exploded yet. We should get partial recovery cost from those SRBs. I mean, the aim is to get a partial recovery cost from the entire launch vehicle. So, although it was over 700,000, approaching 800,000 Kerbucks, I don't know what the currency is in KSP, we will be getting at least part of that back. Although the actual craft itself, this is a one-way deal. This isn't actually meant to then fly to Gratian and then come back and like there's no landing capsule per se. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to dock this with the space station. We'll have to ditch the lander. I mean, we will anyway. The lander's a one-shot deal. We'll bring the main craft back, dock it with the space station, and then I'll have to send up like a ferry to bring them back down. I don't even think I've got any contracts for Gratian, by the way. This is me just doing it because I want to do it and wasting a boatload of funds, but we will get so much science back out of it, and I think we will still get some funds from getting the various world firsts. So yeah, this could be quite nice. This could go you know, it could go well. It could be very prestigious for the Scottish Space Agency, even though temporarily we're using Finnish flags on everything. So we can have maybe a quick look inside the cockpit. This is one of the who was the guy that did the extra IVAs. It does have some errors, as you can see, but otherwise it works very nicely. The screens, despite having a knob in the middle of them, that's not supposed to be there. In fact, I imagine that's supposed to be like there. Yeah, they're all functional, so we can do things like, and again, this is through another mod. We can have various yeah, it's all like, I really like this. I wish this was in the base game functional screens. Flight log, I'm not sure what that's showing. So yeah, there's all various bits and pieces, and both sides have an equal number of screens as well. And also we can get an interior view. This is what it's like inside the payload fairing. The actual interior of the lab, though, this is from OPT space planes. Some of those cockpits have IVAs, but the lab does not. So it's all just, I mean, it sort of does, but it's all grey, untextured interior at the moment. So there's not a lot to see here, but eventually that might be quite nice. So 30,000 meters. Apoap's is approaching 50,000. Still got plenty of delta V. Minute 10 burn time. I hope this is enough. In principle, this should be enough to get me up there. This is what I'm hoping. It's going to get me up there, and then put me on a 0 degree inclination. Because I'm letting MechJeb do all the launches because I suck at doing launches. And I think MechJeb still goes on to the assumption when you're launching that you're launching from an equatorial like launch site, and of course that's not true on Gale. So I've basically, like, it's horrendously inefficient and it's more expensive, but I've been building in just extra delta V to do orbital plane changes. By far the most efficient way to do it would be to take off and properly adjust your heading upwards so that you go in a proper 0 degree inclination orbit, but I suck at launches, so yeah, that's actually going to be an issue when we come to take off from Gratian with the launcher, because we did some testing last time I streamed, and I can do it, but I'm going to have to do a lot of quick saving and quick loading to actually get myself pointing in the right direction when I'm launching, because I was able to get it back into orbit, but it was a polar orbit, which would have been absolutely no good if it was the actual live mission. So yeah, I might just have to cheese it a bit with F5 and F9, but that's fine. Lots of people do. So we're outside again, thanks to a mod. We're outside the lower reaches of the atmosphere, which means we can't actually hear the rockets anymore. So I can maybe turn the sound back up to something close to what it was. Although that does mean that there's not a lot of sound in the bits that aren't in atmosphere, but that's the nature of space travel. So there you go. Right, I think we're going to do this. I mean, bear in mind we're going to pick up a little bit of delta V when we ditch the fairing, because the fairing itself carries a couple of tons of weight. So hopefully that kick from those big SRBs will be enough, and I won't have to revert flight and actually fiddle around to give it more thrust for getting into orbit. Oh god, Navy Field, I think it must have been a good couple of years before I ever played World of Tanks that I tried out Navy Field. And I can't even remember how I stumbled across Navy Field, but yeah, that was kind of fun, but I completely sucked at it, and I didn't play anything approaching the amount of time in it that I've played in other games. It was sort of maybe 10 to 20 hours tops, if that even. Hey, Persona Non Grata, who else has joined us? Chaser, Mao, Sir Conqueror I already said hello to, Draken X3, welcome all. What are we up to? 25 viewers. So, I think we're actually at a height where we can ditch the fairing, so let's actually get the full view of this. Yeah, that's fairly pleasing. That was fairly pleasing. I quite like that. So, that's all the panels out. We can actually hotkey the radiators as well, because the main craft carries basically an RTG. And it's the only RTG I have available at the moment, which is inside a compartment. It's not a separate RTG, so that's generating heat, And we can also turn on those. Yes, we've got some radiator panels on the actual compartment, and then we've got these radiator panels here. I think we can. Has it extended the? Let's move the camera aim point. Yeah, it's actually extended that solar panel, so we'll retract that one for now. Hey, German somebody. So yeah, I'm quite pleased by how this thing looks overall. I think it's not a terrible looking craft. It is going to have some quite long burn times though. Our TWR with those nuclear engines with this thing on the front is just over a 3.3, just over a third basically. So there are going to be some very long burn times, but we do have quite a lot of fuel. I did originally have a whole bunch of these. You might remember I had a whole bunch more of these radial fuel tanks which carry 1,000 liquid units of fuel. But I had a bunch more on the bottom than on the top because, of course, the cargo bay opens that way. And then that was causing all kinds of problems when I was actually doing the flight testing and the simulations, let's call them simulations, where it would not hold on course at all. I would have to have it at very low thrust in order for the SAS rings to actually compensate, because you don't get any gimbaling on the nuclear engines. So in the end I had to abandon that and basically hide some liquid fuel tanks inside the fuselage. So I had to cheese it a bit, but it was the only way I could get it to work. So here's our insertion burn. It looks like we're still going to have about 1,000 meters a second delta V on our launch stage. I mean, technically this is a single stage to orbit. Well, actually no, it isn't. Not with the addition of the SRBs. It's no longer an SSTO. But yeah, so that's us in just about a nice circular 100-kilometer orbit. And it worked first time, so, you know, more boosters. As ever, the solution was more boosters. Which, as anyone that's played KSP knows, is basically the solution to all life's problems. It's either more boosters or more struts. Often, both. So, we're going to quick save there. I have no idea if we have any kind of actual like launch window or intercept window for Gratian. I'm kind of thinking we might just try and like brute force it with just the sheer amount of delta V that we have. So that's Tulumo. There we go. That's Gratian. So we basically want to go from here to here, and it's going to involve looping out. And I've never done this before, I hasten to add, so this might all be some kind of grand disaster. I'm not sure. I'll probably be relying on MechJeb to set up the nodes, and then I might have to like fine-tune the nodes a bit. So anyway, we're going to spend a bit of delta V to put ourselves in an equatorial orbit. And I could then use this to boost ourselves on our way with just a little kick, but I would then not be able to recover this this launcher. So what we'll do is, I mean, I've quick saved it. I will be quick saving all along the way because this is all live. It's happening. It's real. It's not just a video game. This stuff matters. Yeah, definitely. So if anything goes wrong, I'm definitely going to be using the quick load function. So is that going to? Yeah, sometimes it's a bit finicky about using the auto warp properly. I think the FPS is going to be a bit juddery on this overall, even once we ditch the launcher stage, just because this contains so many parts. In fact, we might even be able to use MechJeb to tell us quite how many parts we're carrying at the moment. No, that's vessel info. This is about 500 tons, what we have here. Obviously, it'll be less than that overall. We can also see what our actual final life support thing will be. 4 years, 164 days. So it's about 4 1/3 years. So hopefully that's enough life support. I really hope we're not just going to kill 6 hapless Kerbal-nauts out in the cold depths of space. I've just completely guessed. I've hoped that I've put on like way more than I actually need, but I'm not entirely certain. This might not be enough. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I'm not sure we can actually see our part count from here. No, vessel info doesn't do it, so I'm not quite sure what the part count of this is. I would have to go and look in the SPH. No, the VAB. I'd have to go and look in the VAB. Anyway, so this is our little orbital correction burn. Oh dear, that tea is rebelling. It went down the wrong way. No, Chaser, I'm not going to leave one behind. We're not going to be reenacting the plot of The Martian. I mean, if nothing else, I would need a Kerbal attachment system for that. We're also not planning to leave any kind of permanent base behind. So, oh, for goodness sake. Right. Anyway. So that should be us on a... Whoa, hello. Nice, almost 0 degree inclination. It's 0.015, which is good enough. We'll take it. So let's get this behemoth pointed prograde, which might take a little while because we've only got a couple of reaction rings on here. So it might struggle to get itself round to be entirely prograde. We could, in fact... quick save again and fire off. Right, that's all staged separately. So what we want to do... oh no, we want to have the parachutes as a separate stage, don't we? So, okay. In principle, I can hit the space bar. I think it might be slightly easier just to have the thing separate and then get things pointed where I want, because otherwise it's going to take a long time. So, okay, there we go. So that's our stage separation. So we can now get this pointed prograde, which is still possibly going to take a little while, because even with the 2 reaction rings, I mean, what's our vessel mass? This is still 160 tons of spaceship. And then we can swap over and say I want to point retrograde. We also should have our fuel cells active, so we're... oh, no, okay. I should have activated the fuel cells before I separated. I could have put like a buttload of monoprop on. They do have RCS port and a bit of monoprop, but that's so that they'll be able to, you know, for docking maneuvers later on, because this thing's going to have to come back up and redock with this. This thing's going to have to dock with the space station. So they carry a limited quantity of monoprop, and I don't want to use it for this. So, I believe it was 9 that I hotkeyed it to. So those fuel cells are now active, but as you can see, yeah, those get drained really quickly. But because we've got those active, you know, they're using the remnants of that fuel to actually do what I want them to do. So we'll send that point in prograde, and we should now still have control of this with MechJab and everything because we've got it generating power. Because, yeah, I could have just put a buttload of batteries or even a solar panel on, and then I thought, why not use fuel cells for a change? I never use fuel cells. So that needs to point retrograde, and then we need to... there we go, it's very slowly turning. and then we need to deorbit it. Basically, we also will fire off the parachutes, which once it's on a suborbital trajectory, we can just let it go on its way. We don't need to ride this thing all the way down. We can just set it deorbiting and let the stage recovery mod pick it up. So yeah, we should get like, I don't know, maybe 250k funds back from this. Petit frere, yeah, it's 480p because my internet connection's not that good. Specifically, the upload speeds are not that good. The download speeds are actually all right. So, in principle, we should be able to stick that on a suborbital trajectory, and then the parachutes, and then that'll be fine. So that's going on its merry way back to Gale. So that's all good. So here we are. This is the Latika Mafia. I'll actually roll it a little bit. Maybe let's see if we can't take a nice maybe a nice screenshot or two, which might do for a thumbnail perhaps. I've even got a little light specifically for the flag, which I thought was quite a nice touch. So, here we are with our 4 years of life support, crew of 6. We can collect science along the way, of course. We have a full suite of scientific instruments. The scientific instruments are actually on the lander themselves. We don't have any separate science instruments here. But, of course, what we will be doing is pulling everything out into the lab. Now, one thing I've just had a thought is, I've got loads of electric charge. Did I actually put in a separate science container for... No, I think I just put a science container on the lander, didn't I? So we're going to have somebody spacewalk, grab the stuff from the science container there, and then yeah, I can't just pull it automatically. I should have put the science. Yeah, I should have put another science container on there, but never mind. We're not going to redo the whole launch just for one part. So, right. I've probably got. I mean, I've got all kinds of contracts at the moment that I might even overrun. Things like you know, the deadlines and things, but it's I don't care. I don't care. We can deal with that. We'll deal with the penalties. Do I right? Oh, first off, are we on the same plane as Gratian? I think Gratian's a 0 degree. Change inclination. Apparently we can do a 0.6 degree, or not 0.6 degree, what am I talking about? A 0.6 meters a second thing. And also just check when I hit the stage button, like that is actually activating the nukes. I mean, we might as well do that, I guess. But now I have to figure out how I'm going to get myself to Gratian. That's the hard part. So this is the part I've never done before, and I kind of roughly have an understanding what to do, but there might be a lot of bodging it, basically. This is not a particularly super agile spacecraft. This is going to be just stately maneuvers the whole way and long burns. So I'm going to have a lot of time to fill. I might as well actually grab the data from the things that we have, because we can basically set the lab processing immediately, and we can also click clean experiments from there, which is fine. In fact, if I aim camera there, I maybe could have hotkeyed the thing. Well, that was remarkably articulate. I maybe could have hotkeyed the science experiments. Oh, Oh, we've actually time warped, so that's why it won't let me. Well, is it going to do that every time? Because it's still just going to be... Yeah, we might actually want to close that window. Yeah, that's still just space near Gale, isn't it? Now, the one thing I hope I have enough is electric charge, because running the science lab, you know, we've got the RTG, we've got 4 solar panels. I'm hoping that collectively it's enough. What's our actual output from the RTG? I mean, we're running at maximum efficiency because we've got plenty of cooling. We could even... I think radiator panels consume energy, but I'm not sure that the radiator vanes, or whatever you want to call them, do. So that might be a thing. I mean, we have over a day's worth of electricity in terms of our usage, but we might have to carefully choose when and where we actually have the lab running, because that, I think, might be quite electricity intensive. It's the one thing I haven't actually tested. So what we can do is we can just grab the little bits of data from each of these, and I think we already have, yeah, okay, I think that's everything that we can possibly do. We can do a crew report for a tiny little bit of data, but that's fine. So let's actually, just as a test, do that. Let's set the lab running with now 57 units of data. What's that doing to our power usage? Okay, that's a very slow drain. That's actually alright. That's not too bad at all. I was thinking it might be absolutely sucking down the power. I mean, now we're using the SAS rings to maneuver it. It is sucking down the power, but just with the lab going, we might not be able to have it on all the time, but yeah, and because it's a 4 Kerbal lab, it's actually processing the data relatively quickly. So we'll be able to get, I mean, we're going to be able to collect so much science from Gratian, just in terms of the value of the data, and then we're also going to be able to get data to process in the lab as we're going along. So I don't know if this is going to be enough to unlock the entirety of the rest of the tech tree, but it might. I'm hoping so. So that's running away. We'll have to keep an eye on that, and obviously the power levels. But yeah, basically we need to right, so MechJeb, I'm sure MechJeb's got a interceptor, you know, go to another planet function. Maybe I just don't have it unlocked yet. Transfer to another planet, there we go. Right, as soon as possible. Using this mode voids your warranty. So that gives us, okay, that's a 1500 meters a second delta V burn. We also might need to fine tune the node a bit, so that's not actually showing an intercept at the moment. It's telling us we have one. Wait, is that, wait, I thought that was at 0 degrees, but are we slightly not inclined? Match planes with target, what would that do? I'm actually, is that just very slightly off 0 degrees of inclination? It's actually really hard to tell because there's so many lines in the way. I'd have said it looks like it is, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's very slightly inclined. I don't know. Anyway, so I don't know. I have no idea what I'm doing. Does it show? What's the next transfer window option? I mean, waiting 100 days. See, that's... It must be inclined because that's putting us above. And that's actually about the same amount of delta V. So we must be kind of like in roughly the same, in the right place anyway. Wait, so can we... I kind of want to bodge it up, I guess. I don't quite... Right, why won't it let me match? I want to just match the inclination. Why won't you let me match the inclination? Because I don't actually know what the inclination is. Is there a way to click and get the orbital information for Gratian? Also, the flicking of the lines is a bit annoying. I don't know how much that comes through. That is definitely a bit annoying. So that, okay, that won't let me do that. And I think we're fine in terms of, like, we're going to have so much delta V. I think I've way over-engineered this thing in terms of delta V. But apparently Gratian's not on a 0-degree inclination, in which case I need to change my own inclination to match it. And then that's kind of going to be annoying, because it's not just a matter of changing the inclination, but it's changing the inclination so it's matching the inclination. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that with the lines in the background, by the way. It's super annoying. But it kind of, it's just, I don't know. It's having a seizure or something. Right, so I guess we'll just, wait, isn't there like a node editor thing? Let's get rid of that for now. Also, while we're in the nighttime, I should probably stop the lab processing, because we're entirely relying on battery power at that point. Somewhere. I basically never use this. So we want to change the inclination. I don't know what these things do. Right, we want to, at the Apple Axis, we want to change the thing to, this is all kinds of like, this is, what's radial plus and normal plus in this context? Set delta. What's the delta? I don't know. I'm so confused. I'm just randomly, like, what do these things do? What effect is this going to? Okay, I don't entirely know what any of those do, so this is the point where I am exposed as a total noob at Kerbal Space Program. So actually, you know what, give me a second. I'm just going to look up, because this is going to require recourse to a wiki. So while I just bring this up and see Galileo, I can't even remember how to spell Galileo now. This is thrilling viewing, I'm sure. Right, wiki, and then we want the thing that tells us about Gratian or Gratian, I don't know how to say that. And then we want to look at the thing. Right, here we go. So if I wait, what was it? Shift. There we go. So yeah, this panel here tells us all about Gratian / Gratian, and in principle on here somewhere it should say what the inclination, 2 degrees. It's a 2-degree inclination, so it's not a lot. I didn't think it looked like a lot. Anyway, so okay, why is that? Why are we burning? Why is the rocket burning? Why? What? Oh, it's because I should have paused the game. I should have paused the game, and I didn't pause the game because obviously having hit the shift key in order to actually in order to do my OBS hotkeys, that then toggled the throttle. So we've wasted like a whole 40 meters a second delta V. Oh my god, you guys. Oh my god. It's a disaster. It's fine. It doesn't matter. Right, so, wait, not circularize. Inclination. I guess 2 degrees? Is there any option to tell it that I want it to do it at the same... I don't know. Let's just try this. Let's just try this. And I'm sure it'll be fine. And everything will be okay. Hopefully. Maybe. I don't know. I'm totally just making this up as I go along. How are we doing for power? I think we actually do get a small trickle of... like, just the RTG is enough to power most of the systems. But we do get a small drain. Did I... wait, was it 4? For the... yeah, I'm just wondering if having the radiators active versus not active makes a difference. Also, who's giving me ideas or not giving me ideas? Also, hey, Tomato Team, are you all ragging on Little Mark? In which case, that's fine. Right, so this is all off to a swimming start. The launching was the easy part, and it's actually getting it to another planet that's the difficult bit. I just kind of assumed that Gratian was a 0-degree inclination. Clearly, it's not. I mean, Tulumo is actually closer, but Tulumo is like this huge, dense, high-gravity world. So even though within the Gale system it also has a breathable atmosphere, it would have crushing pressure. Although Kerbals don't seem to care about such things. Right, so... this is going to change our inclination to 2 degrees, but is it going to be a matching inclination? I don't know. Am I just wasting delta V? All these questions and more will be answered in the next thrilling installment of... anyway. I'm not quite sure why this has such a big pink plume when the regular atomic engines have got that very dispersed plume. But maybe it's just meant to be it's a much more powerful engine, which it is. These give about 60 kN of thrust each, and this is like 400 kilonewtons. At max thrust anyway. It's also got a higher specific impulse, so it's actually a more efficient engine. Yeah, we could. I mean, we could do. I mean, we could do gravity assists, but I mean that. I'm not sure it's particularly necessary in terms of our actual like efficiency, because we've still got 6.6k delta V. We're carrying a stupid amount of delta V. Is that's not quite on the right. It's putting us now. See, we're sort of off plane here, if that makes any sense. Do the Picard maneuver. Wouldn't I need warp engines for that? I've actually been watching TNG. I'm very close to the end of TNG now on Netflix. I've just got All Good Things parts 1 and 2 left to watch, and then I shall be finished with TNG. And a lot of TNG I've not seen in a very long time. If only there was some easy way to, like, I don't know. There maybe is some easy way to do it and match it up, and I don't know if so, what the easy way to do it is. Because I am Tenoob. Also, I think I've probably, just looking at the journey times and everything, I've probably way overdone it on the amount of Delta V needed. Not Delta V, life support. So I could probably use this craft for going to other planets with this amount of Delta V. But not necessarily with the same lander, of course. Right, can we, like, do that? Is that, oh. Is that the right way? So this is probably all throwing off the encounter. Hell, I was probably better off at like 0 degrees inclination, to be quite honest. Let's hit F9. Where was I with the last F9? Because this is all just... Oh, right. Okay. That was the last time I hit F5, apparently. We hadn't even done the separation. Okay, so we're back before the separation. It's fine. It's fine. It's all fine. And we just have to do all this again. Because the first time was just a trial run, right, you guys? Yeah. Anyway, so... anyway, that's not ridiculous at all. Right, I need to remember to hit F5 more often. Is the thing. But it's fine. So, yeah, no warp engines. And also, did I mention that I'm basically a noob at all video games? I mean, this game in particular, but just all games. Which I think would be a surprise to nobody. Right. Let's get this thing deorbited and then do all the things we did last time. That's fine. Just stage all the things and then there we go. Right, we can actually properly hit quick save this time. Although I hadn't put the data in, had I, at that point? But that's fine. We can do that. We can do that now. It's fine. It's all fine. Everything's fine. Nobody panic. It's all okay. I don't know why everybody's pointing and laughing. It's all fine. It's all fine. Nothing can possibly go wrong. I'd have been very reassuring on the Titanic, I'm sure. We may have slightly hit this iceberg, but it's fine. It's all fine. Everything's fine. There's nothing to worry about. Anyway, right, we won't bother with the rest because there's only tiny amounts of data. So, oh, wait, yes. Back out. Do want to go back out. So, I wonder if I can fiddle with the thing. So I want to change the inclination of the burn is the thing. Which I think is the purple one. God, you wouldn't think I'd played hundreds of hours of this, but this is the first time I've ever gone into Planetary, so this is all genuinely new stuff to me. Wait, is that inclining it the wrong way? I'm not... Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. How do I... This is the thing. I think I need to be on the inclination. I think I need to be on the same inclination. And go onwards from there. Just for a laugh, let's set Talumo as the giggle and see as the giggle. Let's set Talumo as the target and see what it says. Because I think Talumo should be on around about a 0. So that's also not giving me what appears to be an encounter. But again, I guess Talumo is not also quite on a 0 degree inclination. There must be something somewhere that's on a 0 degree inclination. I just want to see if MechJeb is actually, you know, can actually do this. Or if it's just something I have to set up a thing for myself and bodge it until I actually get what I want. Otherwise, if I can't figure it out, it might literally be, well, go and watch videos on how to do interplanetary stuff. Because I thought I had some clue, but maybe I had less clue than I thought. Oh, wait, no. I keep pressing the M button inappropriately. Right, so that would put me on an outward orbit. And would roughly match the inclination at the other side. Kind of thing. But that, what would be the, wait, does it tell you, doesn't it tell you what the closest approach would be? Because that would be super useful if it would actually let you know roughly where your closest approach is. We can't just... It's a lot easier going to the moon and back, I'll tell you that, than going into Planetary. No, see, I don't know where I would want to go to an encounter. Also, I need to reselect Gratian, don't I? It's all very confusing. I was really hoping I could do all this in one. You know what? We'll go with this, and then we'll try. Somebody suggested doing like a mid-course correction. So I'm going to hit the quick save button, and we're just going to like see what happens, I guess. Also, we need to activate those engines. So oh, actually, let's use the ASAP mode, which will give us a node in 18 minutes instead of 100 days. And then I don't know if this is going to work or not, but we'll see. We'll see if we can do a mid-course, you know, when we're closer to it and see if that actually works. And if not, I will just F9 back to this point and then go away and look up how to do it properly, and I guess we'll finish the voyage at some other point. Well, that was me kind of thinking I knew what I was doing for an interplanetary voyage, and it turns out, not so much. Not so much. I suppose instead of just finishing the stream abruptly there, we could mess around with aircraft or something instead, which is always fun. So, if I click that, that should get it to time warp. Because it doesn't always... There we go. It doesn't always do it properly. Time to think with portals. There are actually mods that let you build, like, basically hypergates between different points, and they're horrendously expensive. But yeah, you can set up like a network of instantaneous travel gates around around the solar system, whichever solar system you're using. So yeah, it's possible. Hypergates are potentially a thing. Also, how much did we get back from our big stage? Quite a lot, actually. 390,000. So it was an expensive launch, but not as expensive as it would have been if we hadn't been able to recover bits. So I'll leave that pins just to watch the electricity usage. So this is going to be a long burn. This is an almost 7-minute burn. So yeah, what does everybody want to talk about for the next 7 minutes, I guess? There's not a lot else to do at the moment. The upside of the nuclear engines is they're very efficient. The downside is very, very long burns. It's not a warship, Ottawee. It's, you know, we purely come in peace. Hey, Latika Mafia. Look, you're in space. Got the flag and everything. Sadly, we don't have a moose on board as a crew member, so it's not a truly Finnish expedition. Because as we all know, an actual true Finnish space expedition to another planet would include a moose as a crew member. But no, we're just kind of faking it. Wow, Ginge. Wow. Let's not. Diversification. I mean, I don't have any solid plans, but I mean, if this goes well, I might maybe say I'm going to have a day a week where I don't do a video and instead I just stream a game, whether it be KSP or Warships or something else. And if it's something like KSP or like I've considered maybe streaming Minecraft or City Skylines, if I can record locally, that could then go up on YouTube. Something that I could either, you know, with the local recording, I could just upload it all in one thing, or I could chop a thing up into 2 or 3 episodes. So potentially, you know, if this works out, even though I can't stream at high quality, I could at least have the high quality local recordings that I could then upload to YouTube. I mean, if I do this one, it will almost certainly just be as if this has all worked, it'll almost certainly just be as a single VOD. But we'll see. I think it's easier almost for me to stream different games rather than record stuff like separately, locally, because I can interact with you guys, and that's a bit more fun. And also there's games that I can see myself streaming that I wouldn't necessarily put together for a video, if that makes any sense. Because sitting and talking, you know, narrating by myself is a different experience than sitting here on stream. You could talk about, well, you know, Scotland's national dress, well, Scotland's national skirt, maybe I should say, is the kilt, so who knows, maybe I've done it already and you just don't know. That was funny though, Max in the dress. That was amusing. I think that was everything that people hoped it would be. No, we're fine, Mawo. We've actually got this window up here with the orbit info, so we're not going to be plunging back into the atmosphere. Our periaps is still like 93 kilometers. Wow, Latika Mafia. Okay then. That's okay. That's a very direct comment. I'm not even sure what to say about that. Anyway, we've got about, God, nearly 5 minutes. It's only been 2 minutes since we started this burn. It's a long burn. It's like Caption Guy, all about the long burns. Oh God, Ginge, don't encourage him. Anyway. Moving swiftly on. I wonder if we go in the cockpit, we can actually hear the. Yeah, we can actually hear the burn. So I could maybe switch over to the other position and just get stuff on all the screens, because why not? Have we got a vessel viewer view of this craft? No. We have an orbital view there. I'm not sure why that's not got the proper background, but anyway. This is more just so it looks nice than anything else. Wasn't there a screen up there somewhere? No, I don't know. It's also got built-in displays for battery power and electric flow and stuff like that, which is quite nice. I've got to cycle through them all to get back to Valentina. So, yeah, there we go. All the screens are set up. And it's quite nice. This is the kind of thing that for YouTube you might want to time accelerate it, or, you know, in editing you might want to make it go a bit faster. I mean, I've watched Scott Manley videos a lot, and obviously he's had a lot of practice at it, but the way he just kind of casually drops in and out of his like previously recorded live stream stuff and then goes to the post recorded commentary, finding the points to drop in and out, you know, that would require actually a reasonable amount of editing work. Uh-oh, little Mark's here. Well, rip. There goes the neighbourhood. So what's that doing to our... This is all still within the system at the moment. But it's going to be... It's a long burn. It's a long burn. I mean, when you think about it, you need about 900 meters a second delta V just to get to the moon. So the extra 600 on top of that isn't actually that much. I'm just even wondering, you know, if we can do this successfully. If I figure out how. We could hop out to Gratian and then we could maybe come back in via Tulumo just to see what Tulumo looks like close up. I don't know. But certainly this thing has enough delta V that maybe with a smaller crew, you could probably send it to almost every planet. Also, how are we doing for cooling? That's all right. But each of these panels is at about 50%, so I think we could have had, instead of 8, we could have had 6, and it would have been fine. But a bit of extra overkill is fine. A bit of redundancy is fine. I hope it's not going to... No, I hope it's not going to be quite that long, Philo Farnsworth. I mean, you know, the Kerbals basically live forever, except when they die in rocket crashes. So, theoretically, you could send them as far as you want, but of course there's no other systems in the game. There you go. Ginge has you covered. So about 2.5 minutes left to go now. Well, Ralak, that's yeah, you got to be careful of the context there. So we're now traveling over 3,000 kilometers a second, and we've still got about another 600 meters a second to add on top of that. So these are possibly the fastest Kerbals who have ever lived. I mean, you might not be wrong there, Tumas. You might well not be wrong there at all. I mean, it's nice in a way that little Mark is here in order to provide entertainment for the rest of the chat when I'm just, you know, being bad at games, which is always. So, wait, why is it showing the apoapsis as being minus? I don't know. I don't know why that's saying minus 50 bazillion million miles. Kilometers. Meters. I got there in the end. Unless that's just minus off where it needs to be. I don't know. I don't know how these things interface with each other. So we've pushed out beyond the orbit of Tulumo. Actually, I have to say that actually, like, this might just be me, but a thesis about the drying conditions of concrete actually sounds sort of interesting. Because I imagine it's like a lot of things in construction where. And engineering, you know, civil construction, civil engineering, where you've got like great big long tables for all the different like humidity conditions and mixture variations and stuff like that. Because I imagine there's a few different things that. Is it just me? Is it just me that would find that like mildly interesting? I'm not saying I'd get wildly ecstatic about it, but the conditions of concrete drying, you know, it's sort of one of those things that's slightly vaguely interesting. Maybe. Or is that just me? It might just be me. Anyway. We're almost at the end of this burn. Less than a minute to go. In principle, this is a close approach, but we're going to need to tweak it in order to actually... be on the correct, you know, plane inclination, which I think should be possible. Maybe. I hope. I don't know. Literally never done this before. Well, no, actually that's a lie. We did send out a Duna probe in the stock Korea that I may have accidentally ruined the save file of. In terms of wiping all the in-progress flights because they've all got MechJeb on. I hope I haven't. I hope. But, yeah, in terms of a manned expedition, I've never tried to do this before. And, of course, Duna is on an exact 0 degree inclination, so it's a lot easier in stock KSP. Most of the planets are on 0 degree inclinations, but I guess most of the planets in GPP are... like close to 0 but not quite, and then you've got Leto all the way out here, which is wildly inclined, so it might just be Gale that's like 0 degree. I don't know. Did the probe make it? I don't think I didn't. Like, I wasn't fast forwarding that particular playthrough, so I left it on its way and then went back to doing other stuff, and I would just check back every so often to see how much progress it had made. I think it was still a couple of 100 days from getting to where it needed to be. That sounds like an amazing drunk conversation, Far Berserker. Also, did I thank you for City Skylines, the expansion for that? Because if I haven't, then thank you. Anyway, see, you know, we could have a nice conversation about concrete, which I'm sure Latika Mafia would be thrilled about. He would just love to talk about concrete all day long, wouldn't you, Latika Mafia? because I happen to know for a fact that that is in fact his main hobby in life is concrete. Yes. Right, we're going to actually drop a save here. Rather than use the quick save, so we can have separate named save files. Right, so anyway, which way are we actually? Oh, so a complete orbit would take 2 years, 200. Okay, so we'd use a fair chunk of the life support, but we've still got a pretty significant margin. So I guess let's warp out for about 2 months or so. Well, I wasn't going to say anything AGF Saval. I was trying to bring the tone up a bit, but that might be difficult with some of the regulars in this chat. Also, Saras gets a point for use of puns there. That was actually a good use of puns. I mean, you know, with use of puns like that, I feel like we could have a really firm foundation for an interesting conversation. Anyway, right, so that's an alarm we don't need to pay attention to. Right, what we want to do? What would it? Now that's the thing that shifts it. So we actually want to... Nope. No, I don't want to set a target. Right, can we... maybe at this point, can we... match planes? Will it let me do that? It will, but good lord, look what it puts to the node. That's actually way past. So, wait, This is probably all horribly fuel inefficient. Right, that might do the trick, maybe, I think, I hope. That's another 400 meters a second delta V, but it's fine because we've got so much delta V that it's silly. So that's okay. I would say, Tomato Team, you know, just blow a whistle and wait till an adult shows up, but you might be waiting an awfully long time, to be honest. Anyway, so this is going to be a rather shorter burn. This is in 9 days' time. This will put us on the correct plane, and then I guess we just kind of fidget back and forth until we get an actual encounter. This is all like horribly inefficient, and it's burning off so much delta V. But it's fine, it's fine. We have huge margins. I'm just going to keep telling myself that. Hey, Clyde. We're not doing warships, as you can see, but it's ships of some variety. Ships of the space variety. We're going to another planet. And I'm failing miserably so far. This has not been my smoothest voyage ever, but it is basically the first time I've ever tried to do a manned voyage to another planet. Defending communism at parties. Well, everybody's got to have a hobby, I guess, Latika Mafia. I mean, if concrete isn't it, then I guess it might as well be that. Anyway, so we're about to start this burn. As we're in sunlight, we might actually... There we go. We've already been able to upgrade the crew's experience. Right, start research. I can probably even grab some science during all of this, because we're now... we're counting in space high over 0. Even though... oh no, wait, 0 is the sun, of course. So this is all excellent. We can... send all this lovely data to the lab and get the science, which is just gravy. So that's all good. Right, I think the crew report I accidentally... There we go. So what we can do is, if I just rejig the camera, where did my science pod go? It's lurking on there somewhere. Oh, there it is. So pins the experiment storage unit. And tell that to collect all data. We can also clean experiments. And we should then get the ability to have to do these experiments again. And also once we've once we finish this burn, we'll grab EVA data. Well, I live here, Pavandeep. I wasn't born here, but I consider it home because I've lived here most of my life. I mean, okay, the Hootsman, can't you hear my Scottish accent? You can. Yes. Well, that was so offensive, I'm actually going to, you know, report myself to somebody somewhere. That was pretty bad. Anyway, the good part is, though, that, you know, when I'm reading the bits that Terry Pratchett wrote, the dialogue for the Knack Mac Feagles, I understand it perfectly. I have no difficulties whatsoever. Snow barbecue. Is that where you have grilled snowballs? I don't know where I was going with that thought. Anyway, so wait, no, the crew report we did actually. That's fine. So mystery goo, material study, keep experiment. So once again, we can collect data and then tell the science lab to clean those experiments. And let's just have a quick look. Materials, temperature, atmosphere, crew report, mystery goo. So that's fine. And then we're going to have Bob Kerman do an EVA. Where's Bob? Bob is going to give us an EVA report and get back inside. process that, and also, oh yeah, I think if you use something for data, you actually have to, like, because you can basically double dip to some extent. You can keep the experiment. So there we go. So that's 6 pieces of data. So we'll drop another save here, having made our correction. And we're going to then see if we can actually get to where we want to go and get an actual encounter. So this is sort of working, sort of. Closest approach. Aha, so there is a marker. I was not... I remembered correctly. I wasn't horrifically wrong. There is actually a marker. So we want to... bingo! There we go. Right. I've excited you guys. We're kind of doing it, kind of, maybe. Now, we haven't set up to aero brake or anything, but I hope we have enough delta. We should have enough delta V to just decelerate. Right, okay, this is 1.5 years from now, just about. So, there we go. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. It's exciting. Wow, cyber race. That's pretty damn bad. That's pretty bad. Also, if you're wondering why the scrolling is going in, I'm actually just scrolling the chat a little bit. Anyway, so yeah, we've got a tiny amount of delta V comparatively to get that intercept. That's fine. We might do this. We might actually do this. We might do this all in one stream. I'm excited. Maybe not as excited as Latika Mafia is by the thought of me in a kilt, but you know, I'm still excited. Anyway, right. Let's get this to time accelerate. I think we should have enough range, enough signal range, by the way, but I'm not sure. I haven't set up like some kind of inter-system comms relay. Our comsats are all within the vicinity of Gale itself, so we might be just flying this a lot of this mission outside of any kind of radio contact with back home. So it's going to be, you know, these guys might, inside the canon of this save file, fly off into the unknown, lose contact, and just be never heard of again. You never know. It could happen that way. Eaten by giant space krakens, or so the history books will record. Probably. So we'll maybe have to do some further course corrections when we get a bit closer. We'll time accelerate a lot closer forwards, and then see what that does in terms of... Because the periapsis is pretty high. We might try and bring that down a bit, but we'll get a bit closer before we fine-tune it. And hopefully it will go okay. It's exciting. I've never done this before. Kind of. More or less. Also, burning the engines does give a very nice boost to the battery. And maybe I should have just put on an extra battery pack somewhere. So then I wouldn't have to be worrying about our science data so much. But it's fine. I will, I think, however, we'll stop researching before we time accelerate again. Oh, also, I have to stop researching. We've already filled up science, so we can transmit our science back to Kerbin. We've already generated 800 science. That's ridiculous. So transmit science. What's this going to do to our battery capacity? It's eating up a worrying amount of it. We might have to cut the transmission. I might not actually have enough battery capacity to transmit all of the science in one go, and of course it won't let you just do a little bit at a time. No, okay, this is the point where some fuel cells or just bigger batteries would have been super useful. Never mind. Okay, so there's no point sending any more data to the science lab because we can't actually transmit the whole lot. We don't have enough electricity. Oops. Okay, so that's a slight design flaw that we can fix later on, but that's the kind of thing that you're not going to know without some actual operational experience. Anyway, so let's warp to Apoapsis. Which is... wait, I'm just going to check we're all... I'm just going to check that we're pointed so that we've always got some solar panels. Because it wouldn't do to accidentally kill the crew. That would be bad form. I believe it is considered bad form to do that. I'm also keeping a sharp eye on our life support. Got loads of actual, you know, the consumables left, but of course we also need to keep an eye on our waste products. Yeah, I may have, like, we'll be able to bring the science back, but we can't process it in the lab for bonus science. Or, well, having said that, we technically could, because this thing's going to be left docked in orbit. We could bring up some extra scientists and have it happen that way. We could leave this thing in orbit with all of the science, take the science from the containers down with us, because we're basically going to have, you know, a lab in orbit docked to the space station. Potentially, I mean, having said we could send this to other places, potentially we could send this exact craft to other places. We could leave it docked up there on the space station, just, you know, refuel it, and okay, there we go. It actually came out of warp when we were about to run out of electricity, which is quite nice. One of the reasons why I've got the RTG is that we are getting a bit further away from the sun, from 0. So of course that's going to mean less power. Right, our signal strength is still good as well. So this uprated antenna, this is actually 130% of the normal size. That's actually maintaining a nice connection. It's a pity you can't send bits of the data. Isn't there a... Actually, I just had the thought, isn't there a thing for, like, allowing incomplete transmissions? Would that... I don't know. Like, there's that button, but I don't know what that does in terms of actually transmitting stuff. I don't know. Anyway, so we're still high over 0 at this point, so we haven't changed our situation there. Right, one of these, I think if we have it so it's pointed in towards the sun. Yeah, we did, Chaser. It took a bit of finagling to get here, but we have managed it. It was, of course, all my skillful knowledge of the game that got us here, and not just randomly trying things until something worked. So yeah, I want to get this pointed inwards, basically. So we've always got all 4 solar panels pointed sunwards. Yeah, I didn't think we'd run through all of the science capacity that quickly, and it's not like I can then grab that science and stick it elsewhere. But I mean, in terms of this mission, it's a bonus 800 science. So let's continue on our way. Now I didn't put on any recyclers, I don't think. Oh no, I did. Okay, so we actually have a water purifier. Oh, I'd forgotten I'd done this. Okay, so we can actually extend the life of our water and oxygen, but food is a finite thing. So, I mean, I don't know when we get there in terms of, like, we might need to aerobrake a bit, maybe. I'm not sure. And we're also going to need to actually aerobrake. We're going to have to go quite low. I think we'll drop a save so that we can explore both options, because this could go either way. Anyway, how are we doing for resources? I mean, if it comes to it, I can use TAC fuel balancer to dump the waste products overboard. But we brought these recyclers along with us, so we might as well use them. In terms of the waste, as it were, the solid waste, or well, just I don't know. Maybe in KSP terms, it's not even like bodily waste. It's just crumbs. It's just snack crumbs. Yeah, we could eject that out into space because we can't process that. But water and oxygen, we can in fact do something about. So. What happens? I'm just going to see what happens when we turn these on. What's the rate at which they process stuff? What does that do to our electricity consumption? So there we go. We're pointed where we want to be. That does still up our electricity usage rather a lot. So it's only at time warp 50, time warp 100. Anyway, we'll turn those off then for now. But you know, they're there. I guess we'll just leave those pinned up at the top somewhere. God, we're getting so many things pinned to the screen. We can actually get rid of the science lab pin. Right. Also, let's take a look at our. No, we're still high over 0 at this point. We're not close to anywhere else. So we'll warp to our power system. We'll drop another save and then let's make some adjustments. I'm going to see if we can't initially do a braking maneuver. We'll see how much delta V that costs us. I mean, it might be we do a combination of a braking maneuver and aero braking, of course. I think if I furl all of the various extendable panels and the things like the comms array, we should be fine. Right, also, our waste products are getting a bit high, so where do I want... There we go, attack fuel balancer. So we're just jettisoning stuff, basically, out into space. Which is maybe considered slightly cheaping. It's slightly cheaping. It's considered slightly cheating. I don't know, but it seems like in real life this is what they did with, at least with Apollo. They just jettisoned the liquid waste overboard. The Wii. They basically rolled down the window and chucked out the Wii, essentially. So, the purifier, I guess we'll dump one of the containers and we'll just leave the purifier. And then carbon dioxide, there we go. We'll do the same. Actually, we can have both those set to transfer in, so those will always be maximized. And then we'll just dump the rest. That might take a while because the CO2 units are quite high. Well, indeed, Cyberwraith. Indeed. So I'm interested to see. Like, I think I just stuck those on there just to see what effect it would have. But in terms of the life support supplies I stuck on generally, I wanted to make sure that we would that they were all equalised. What I could have done, I could have had less water and oxygen and then relied more on the extractors to pull out more from the waste products, but they were a bit unnecessary in retrospect. I probably could have saved myself weight with those. Oh, it is taking, even at the maximum possible thing, it's taking a long time to dump the many tens of thousands of units of carbon dioxide. I have double checked. I'm not throwing away all the oxygen, food and water. It would be a bit catastrophic. How to kill 6 Kerbals very, very quickly. Also, you know what I meant to do, and I always forget this. I meant to have the music turned on. But never mind. I've belatedly remembered. So that's one tank empty. Quiet you, Cyberwraith. Are you inferring that the quality of my attempts at humour may not quite be up to the gold standard that one might have encountered among more professional comedians? Which is probably the most long-winded way of saying I'm crap at telling jokes ever. Right. So this is going to be a bit fiddly because basically we're going to want to change our apoapsis. Oh, and it's super awkward actually. Right, 30, 16, 13, 8. These are a million meters, by the way, so it's not like I'm going to be 8 meters off the surface when I say that. 4.5, 1, Oh, too far, too far. We're not looking to actually crash into the planet itself. Right, that's actually 39. I think that's... let me just check. Atmosphere height 50 kilometers, so 39 would actually give us a bit of aerobraking. So we'll try that. Because that sounds about right for where the atmosphere would be thick enough to actually slow us down a bit. But bear in mind, we're going to be coming in very hot, so I might do a further slight fine-tune to bring us up to maybe about 45. In fact, I might even be able to do that with... the mech jeb to actually get it more precise, but that would have to be once we're within the sphere of influence. Wow, you're just you're all so supportive. I love you all. Yes. Yes, love, that's the word. Yes. Anyway, you're all so mean to me. Don't know why. I'm a nice boy, I am. I never, you know, do anything mean or, you know, it's not like I'm secretly a Sith. I wouldn't go around killing all the younglings. No, you must be thinking of some other Jedi. Hey, Mr. Tog. Thanks for joining us. And Sombra. You're all so mean. You're all so very, very mean. Somewhere Caption Guy is grinning. Also, the water purifier, okay, in terms of the CO2, it looks like we can process it faster than they can generate it. Although I didn't actually dump all the wastewater, did I? So we're actually... that's fine, we're actually getting a net benefit of water at the moment, I think. Right, right, another 143 days. How are we doing for life support? In terms of the supplies we actually have. Why isn't that? Okay, the buttons are not responding. Button, respond, plus... I can't tell how many days of life support I've got left. That could be a bit bad. I don't know. That button is no longer responding, so that's reassuring. Anyway, so... yet another save. Oh, there we go. Now the life support window popped up. Still 2 years, 400 days. So we still have a pretty big margin. Okay, so our periapsis is now just very slightly outside the atmosphere. I guess it wasn't hugely precise with the burn. So what we'll do is we'll warp to the sphere of influence, which is about another 150 days. Oh, Caption Guy never truly leaves us, sadly. Very sadly. Just when I think I've managed to weasel my way out, away from him, he then sneaks back in to like a CK2 video or something. He has been slacking a lot recently though, hasn't he, Caption Guy? Definitely slacking. Anyway. So, we're still warping, aren't we? Yeah, these are big distances we're travelling. This is by far my longest individual mission. So I've actually, as a benefit of having the purifier, maybe I didn't need to dump quite everything that I did, because we could have had way more water and oxygen. Not that it matters, because if we run out of food, everyone's going to be screwed anyway. But it's good to know that these, you know, for this number of Kerbals, that this can actually work to really extend the life of a. So I could have brought less supplies, less oxygen and water to begin with, and we could have gotten the benefit of recycling a lot more. So we'll warp just inside the sphere of influence. Here we go. So, this is where life gets interesting. Kerbal cannibalism. I don't think that is such a, you know, that is not a mod to my knowledge, but maybe it could be. So, yet another save file, I think. And I think the plan well, that's the wrong way. I think the plan is we're going to attempt a kind of high atmospheric aerobraking and see what that does to bring our it's a bit tricky to see on screen, to be honest. 89. That actually would give us an encounter with Geminius, or whatever that is, the moon of Gratian as well. $85. Wait, why is that giving me 2 periapsis times? That's just confusing. Right, I'm not entirely sure why it's giving me 2 periapsis times, but it is. Or 2 periapsis markers. Maybe be more accurate. I wonder if we could. Oh. I was always trying to get like a gravity assist around the moon or something. Not that that probably would be actually that useful. Right. Maybe that wouldn't be. Wait, let's just. What does MacJeb say? Circularize at the next. Perhaps 1475. That's actually. That's well within our Delta V budget. I think. I hope. That'll give us about 3,000 meters a second Delta V. And bear in mind, we're going to have a bit of a Delta V bump once we've ditched the lander. So I think, I mean, we're going really fast. Well, I say really fast. We'll be going really fast. Maybe. Oh, if I. Right. Let's try. Let's try. What did I say? 45. Wait. Change. Periapsis. No, after a fixed time of, let's say, 30 minutes. Right, that would... Okay, let's try. We've got the save file. Let's try a combination of aerobraking and burning into orbit just to see what that does in terms of... Oh, wait, no, that's 30 seconds. I wanted... I'll tell it 300 seconds then, which obviously would be... it will give it time to actually turn all the way around. Anyway, I sort of know what I'm doing. Sort of. Kind of, maybe. A little bit. Oh, this is the most bodged job of a mission I've ever done. In terms of actually, like, planning it. I just went, yeah, 7,500 Delta V, that's probably enough, right? 4 years of life support, that's probably enough, right? Yeah, not at all just making it up as I go along. How's the sound level, by the way? Can you actually hear the music or not? Does that pertain to something else in the chat? Far Berserker, did I miss something? Or, you know, I'm just going to take your word for it, of course. I think all of that must be true. It sounds so plausible, but yeah. Anyway, so we want to get this point, this whole thing pointed retrograde, and then we're going to try doing a little bit of aero braking, and it'll be fine. It'll be fine, you guys. We'll aero brake, and it'll be fine, and everything will be okay. And we won't just burn up in a massive fiery ball of fire and balls. I don't know where I'm going with that thought. Probably not a good place. This is actually, I mean, I've said it's all a bit of a bodge job in terms of the planning. I'm relatively pleased with the spacecraft. I think the spacecraft is fine. Clearly, it wasn't quite 100% in that, well, we needed way more battery capacity to be able to transmit all of that that science, but never mind. As I said, you know, we can bodge it a bit. We'll have this thing parked in orbit around Gale, and we can dock it to the space station for a little while. So, yeah, let's just walk forward then. We don't have any kind of, like, ablator or shield or anything on this. I mean, it's very difficult to, you know, with the thing docked on one end and then with that docked on the other end. The only way I could have done it would to be have the heat shield on the base of this thing. We actually could have done that. We could have had the inflatable heat shield on the base of the lander, because that can then be jettisoned. So, yeah, but as it is, we're going to have to be relying on the engine bells and hope that things won't massively overheat. Now we can turn on those, but we're going to want to close that bay, aren't we? So, swap a little closer. God, I hope this works. Should be fine. Solar panels instead of extra batteries. No, the issue, Ginge, was the transmission. Like, transmitting data just eats up a lot of energy really quickly, so you need the battery capacity. And because we were trying to transmit 800 science all at once, that wasn't working. So let's fold in the panels. Let's actually stop the water purifier and the extractor. Oh, we also didn't... Oh, we're still in space high at the moment, so... Oh. Right, so, yeah, we want to do all of these things. And also an EVA report if we've got time. So it's 50 kilometers is the top of the atmosphere. There's no point in collecting the data from this because the science lab can't actually then process it for now. Right, we'll have science lab, clean experiments, and then Bob, you've been volunteered to get out and do a quick EVA. So try not to float into space. Right, so should I be braking, I guess? I sounded so certain of myself there. So I'm just doing this as a unthingameed burn. Oh yeah, let's bring the things back in. And the idea is that we'll be kind of... Oh, we're actually... Let's set our periapsis even lower. That's actually maybe a bit too low. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have burned there. This might be a problem. Let's see. Let's find out. I have no idea. We might be going back to the save file earlier than I thought. I've actually set my periapsis lower by burning like that, which puts us into a thicker part of the atmosphere. And a thicker part of the atmosphere means more fun and flames and things, but it might still be high enough to be fine. I guess we'll find out. I guess we'll find out. Gratian's got some interesting biome names. Infinite Paprika. Yeah, it's a very spicy planet. Anyway, we are now in the upper atmosphere in theory. Oh no, wait, I am completely off base. We haven't even begun to hit the upper atmosphere yet. Gratian's inverse gratin. Right, there we go. We're now... Okay. This is fine. It's fine. So we're now in near space, I believe. Crew report. History goo. Material study. We'll do the same. Collect all. And once again, we'll send Bob out. Man, there's going to be so much data from this. This is going to be a ridiculous amount of data. Right, anyway, also, I wonder if we can... No connection. Oh, right, we've broken line of sight, so we don't actually have a direct connection with Gale at the moment. God, this is going to be a little bit interesting. This is a thing where we might need to load up a file again. It probably was more sensible to actually... Cinnamon Heights! There's another biome. Probably was more sensible to start having named save files. It's getting awfully close. Awfully close. 70 kilometers. 60. We're going over 3,000 meters a second. I think we might be going a little bit too low. But this is all a simulation, you guys. This isn't actually happening. It's a simulation. Yeah. I mean, the absolute safest option would be to just do a straight burn and not like try and minimize the use of delta V to circularize. Which hopefully I haven't just put myself way too low in the atmosphere and blow myself up. See you, AGF. Thanks for tuning in. You'll be able to catch the rest of it on the YouTubes if all goes according to plan. So we're actually in the upper atmosphere, which means we can grab this science now. Provided everybody lives. We might not do an EVA report just yet, though. I mean, Gratian's atmosphere is very thin. So there's that. Right, collect all, and then clean experiments. We're doing fine for power. Yeah, there doesn't seem to be any issues there. Oh, you get different biome data for the atmosphere analysis. Okay. This isn't actually too bad. We are starting to get an overheat on the engines. That's the thing to watch out for, but you know, we're not, like, the craft itself doesn't seem in any danger of exploding, but I do have to watch that overheat bar. Because at the moment, it's not like we can exactly extend the radiators out. So, yeah, hopefully we don't, you know, make the entire spacecraft explode. That would be a bad thing, generally speaking. Oh, got another atmosphere analysis we can run. Okay, the overheat bar is actually dropping. We probably should have started burning earlier, come to think of it. Like, again, this is something I've not done before. Tried to do a burn through an atmosphere like that. So nothing exploded, and that's fine. Oh, actually, why did I get rid of that? I didn't want to get rid of that. But we'd have to... keep an eye on things, but that is noticeably shifting. Of course, we're getting the benefit of atmospheric drag as well. So we're on the way back out of the atmosphere now. This might still not work. It might be that I just started burning way too late. Oh, you're right, Lactica Mafia. We should just get rid of the parachutes. In fact, all of that pesky life support stuff as well. You know, we could save a bit of weight that way. In fact, just having any kind of skin on the capsule at all, they could just sit there in their spacesuits. I mean, what else? Like, we've lugged the spacesuits all this way. They might as well get some use out of them. So, absolutely. Right, how are we doing? Are we back out of the atmosphere at this point? Altitudes. Yes, we are now back out of the atmosphere. It is shifting back down. I mean, in principle, this has saved me some delta V. In principle. Don't know how much actual delta V this will have saved me, but I don't know. I think, what was it? It was going to be about 1500 on top of the 4500 that I've got, so if it's more than 3000 delta V, we will have saved delta V by doing this. So that's slowly decelerating us. I think we need to shed about 800 more. So, because I started burning so late, I might have only saved us about 200 meters a second, but still, it's 200 meters a second more than we would have had. Yeah, this might actually work. We might not have to go and grab the save file, even though it was messy. And even with 3,000 meters a second delta V, that's still going to be more than enough to get home. So, yeah, that's all fine. So apparently that was like just about the right kind of height, 35 kilometers-ish. I think 45 would have not really given us a lot of benefit. Potentially we could have even gone deeper, but we were starting to get that overheat bar on the main engine bell, so that might have been pushing it a bit. Right, oh, there we go. Right. Wow, this has actually saved us a lot of delta V. So I'll watch this apoapsis button and prepare to kill the engines. We might even... I think we can quite easily like go on a little jaunt to Geminus there. We won't actually be able to land on it though, because the lander is a one-shot deal. The lander has enough oomph to... like, it's got enough delta V to get it down to the ground and then back up again. It won't have enough to land on Geminus. We've actually done it! Hooray! I suck marginally less at KSP than I thought I did. So I was thinking maybe we'd save like 200 meters a second, but no, it's going to be more like 600, 700 meters a second saved. So aerobraking absolutely was useful, even though I probably didn't do it in a very optimal way. So we'll bring that down to, oh, I don't know, a couple of 100 kilometers. In fact, no, we want to be in a fairly close orbit because the higher the orbit we're in, the more fuel we're going to need to actually then drop the lander onto Gratian. Oh, you're right, Brett. There's still plenty of ways in which I could dramatically muck this up. So what are we down to? 3,600 meters a second. We are obviously going to need to circularize when all this is done. Which is fine. Okay, having said we might save... Okay, this is actually... It's this final bit of the burn, of course, is taking a lot of delta V. So maybe I was right with my original 200 meter a second estimate. And of course that's not even taking into account the amount to circularize from here. Well, that's 1,000,000 meters. What we'll do is we'll set up a maneuver node just to get ourselves maybe around 60. Perhaps 58. 58, that'll do. 59 practically. Right, so execute next node. And then we'll circularize on that node. And then I guess we'll find out at that point how much delta V we've ultimately saved. So, can extend all the things and open bays and whatever else. Whew. Yeah, you're probably right, Chase. I probably could have aerobraked a bit more, but we still would need to... yeah, rather than burn all that off, we could have done more aerobraking. That would have been the more efficient way to do it. Actually, come to think of it. But we're still sitting on 3,500 meters a second of delta V, so I'm willing to live with it. But yeah, we definitely, yeah, now you've said that, I'm thinking we could have done more aero braking passes. Although, I mean, I've done aero braking passes on Gale and Kerbin itself, and it's always a tedious thing because you're just going around and around and around and bleeding off each time until you get to the point where you need to be. But anyway, here we are. That's a really nice little screenshot, actually. We'll take that. We made it! Gratian! And we didn't kill anybody! And we didn't significantly screw things up. You know, there are a couple of minor screw-ups, but it's fine. Minor screw-ups are fine. Oh god, Brett, you still remember that? Poor... Oh god, was it Bob or Bill? I can't remember. That's going way back. Yeah, just go through an EVA whilst we're re-entering the atmosphere. That won't go wrong. Right, so that's fine, and then what does circularizing do? Actually, circularizing still uses up a big chunk of... What I might do is I might leave it on this particular orbit and we just release the lander at Periapsis and drop the lander in. Although, actually, no, the lander will then need to burn more Delta V to get down, wouldn't it? Okay, yeah, no, we need to actually burn into a lower orbit then, that's fine. Which is going to take us down to about 3,000 meters a second. So, having done all this, it probably would have been easier just to do an insertion burn with MechJeb to begin with, and it would have given us the same result, more or less. But, you know, aerobraking, multiple aerobraking passes would have definitely been more efficient. It would have let us preserve more Delta V. So, you know, this is all lessons learned for the future. Yeah, okay, Bob Kerman. It was Bob Kerman. Poor Bob Kerman. He didn't deserve it. I'm not sure why that's saying full probe control, given that we have a capsule full of crew members. There's even lights in here, actually. Where's the button? Right, oh, here we go. Cockpit lights! It's magic. It's a really nice little cockpit, this. So yeah, you can actually have a bit of illumination. Anyway. So, that's a good thing I completely over-engineered this thing. And stuck on so much extra Delta V. Because we're going to have needed a big chunk of it. But that's fine. Safety margins and all that. Right, how are we doing in terms of our food, though? 2 years, 261 days. So about... oh, look at that. About a year and a third. Lit by the nuclear glow of our engines. I'm not sure the engine glow is supposed to be powerful enough to light that up, but there it is. Well, I'm actually considering wrapping up the stream here because we're getting on for over 2.5 hours. I'm not sure how I'm doing for recording space on my drive. I'm kind of curious to see how much OBS will have taken up. And also, it's getting late. It's 10 PM, which is not that late, but I do want to go and have some food. And I think this is a good juncture. This is a good point to wrap it up, because then I could do another stream at some point in the week, or maybe even next weekend, where we do all the landings and maybe go and visit the moon if there's enough Delta V in the budget for that. But overall, I think this has been very successful. I say that. I look out the window. It's still actually, like, it looks like it could be about 7 PM. It's almost, in fact, it is 10 PM. It's just shy of 10 PM. And yeah, it's still fairly light outside. It looks like it could be 7 or 8. So we're getting to that part of the year where I think at the height of summer, at the equinox, it gets to about 11:30, and it's still light, and then it starts to get light again at about 2:30, 3:30 in the morning, something like that. So, as the nuclear engines shut themselves off and we pull into a close orbit of Gratian, which is our first our first planet visited in the Galileo system, and my first planet visited ever in KSP. Yeah, we're going to wrap things up here. So thank you all for tuning in. I hope this was enjoyable, and my derpitude was not too much more than normal, but yeah, it was though. It was. I completely just winged it, and it's sheer luck that it worked out, but massive over-engineering always helps as well. So wherever you are, have a good evening. I hope to see you in the next stream, and something. I don't know, it's late. I can't even think of a good sign out, so just I'll see you next time.